Hello, everybody. It's me, Andrew Plumbro, here again for another episode of Meet the Blind. I'm here joined by Jaime Trausch. Jamie, how are you doing today?
Doing all right, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining. Always glad. Yeah, just talk a little bit about about your role at Saavi. What do you do?
Okay. I am the Chief Technology Officer at Saavi. Basically, what that means is I supervise the access technology or system technology department. Those are the folks who kind of provide the training to our students and how to use technology when you're blind. So I kind of oversee that department, and then I oversee our IT needs, like kind of traditional companies might have, since we've got a few different centers. Um, things get a little complicated, and we're technology is really important to us, especially working virtually and doing things like that. So that's those are the two main areas of my job, and I still sometimes get involved with students. When people get jobs, sometimes I'll go out to their job sites and do kind of accessibility evaluations and making sure that all their um, systems are working as well as they can, and the apps that they're using work well with the technology that we use to access computers.
Yeah, gotcha. And do you which facility do you spend most of your time in? Is it in Phoenix or in Yuma or Tucson?
Well, right now it's I'm spending most of my time at home.
Yes.
But in the normal work world, it's Tucson, and then I would visit Phoenix and Yuma. I used to visit Phoenix weekly, and then Yuma probably monthly. So right now, I haven't been out to either one of those places for 6 months, but I still come into the Tucson office a little bit.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. But
Yeah.
Talking a little bit about your background in technology, what in particular about technology really interests you the most, and part of like the innovation side of technology, where it's heading?
That part interests me a lot. I think it's really technology has really opened up a lot of doors for blind people, and the way that they work and the kind of information that we have access to. Um, and that's been really important to me in my own personal life, and then just as a professional, trying to get um, accessibility built into things. That's really changed a lot. That was not the case at all back when I first started, and having things, the term is born accessible, so having things come out accessible on day one is really important, and having giving people tools and kind of matching the capabilities that um, apps and programs have, but also matching the training on the personal side, so that people know how to use them, making those things come together to to allow people to become successful is what really interests me.
Yeah, and in particular, what is your favorite tool?
Um, I mean, if you ask me to pick an area, I think I kind of have to pick two. There's a lot of artificial intelligence stuff that's coming out that's changing, allowing us to use certain things. So there's things like object recognition and automatically recognizing text, and doing some really cool things like that. There's some apps and things are getting built in, allowing you to kind of, if there's a picture on a web page that isn't, there's no explanation of what it is, the software will analyze it and tell you a little bit about it. Things like that really change the way that we access things. And then on the other side, I really am interested in some of the changes that have been made over the last 5 years or so that relate to how much access blind people have to science and math. STEM stuff is really important to me, and it opens up a lot of doors for folks. So those are the two areas that I think, in terms of changes and innovation, that I'm the most excited about.
Yeah, that's really cool. I had talked with Ashley Moon before, and I know she does a lot of stuff with the youth program in terms of STEM and like certain projects and like certain like assignments. So it's really cool. And I was curious to know if these things, can you see them happening in the foreseeable future?
some of them are already starting to happen, but they're just not quite consistent or easy to use yet. It's kind of, some things in technology happen really fast and some things take a little bit of time. And this is one of those that's taken time. And, um, there were some hints, like 10 years ago that this stuff was going to be great. And maybe even a little bit more than that. And now we're really starting to see um, actual real life um, applications where there are real life things that are actually happening that are out there and in the public, available for people to use. So it's coming. It's just not it's not widely available. It hasn't trickled down to like, the high school student who's gone, who's having to work virtual, may not have accessible math yet, but the capabilities are there. And as they get, baked into programs and the way that programs produce math, it's going to become um, more and more common.
Yeah, I know as well. As much of a tech guy as you are, I know you also were quite athletic growing up. You played wrestling in high school. I want you to talk a little about your athletic career in that sense.
Oh, yeah, I was really into that for quite a while. I mean, I grew up doing that a lot. It was one of probably my favorite outside activity. I always had to do active things, just kind of the person that I was. I did track a little bit, but wrestling was definitely my thing. I did that for 11 years. Um, and it was really good. It allowed me to, travel around a little bit, and it was a good experience for me. Kept me kept me from getting into too much trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What about the sport of wrestling interests you the most, or at least during your time playing it? What about the sport?
Um,
Physicality, or
no, for me it was just the competition and just the, like it was something that in order to do it well, you have to really dedicate some time and effort to it. And that appealed to me. My family also, I have a lot of wrestlers in my family. So it was kind of something that kind of got passed down a little bit. But I think, it was that. And it was also just something that I could, like there were certain sports that I really couldn't, um, play with everybody else, like baseball. I mean, there is a form of baseball that works called beat ball that, you can play. It's a little different, it's modified, but it's not something you can just pick up and do. And wrestling was something I could do, whenever with anybody. And, something that it was just um, something I just naturally liked as well.
yeah, no, that's great, and it's always good to be active as well.
Mhm.
Um, one final question before we wrap up this year's episode: why did you choose Saavi?
Um, Good question. I actually got laid off from a job a long ways back and went back to school. And as I was finishing, um, I got asked to participate in one of our summer programs for high school students because I needed to do, I just finished and I needed to work. And I thought, oh, this would be kind of interesting. It's high school kids and should be interesting. And it wasn't exactly what I was planning to do, but I did it and I really liked it. And I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. And I just never stopped working. I did the summer program. And, oh, can you stay? And the next thing I know, it's 10 years later. So, it started off with just a summertime job, and it was something I really liked, and now I'm still there.
Gotcha. No, it's a great start. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for your time and effort. I really appreciate you being able to join us today, and have a good
Yes.
rest of your day as well.
Thank you, Andrew.
And here at Saavi, it's not about what you can see, it's about who you are.